everybody, this is Matty here with Altcoin Buzz. Hope you're doing very well. Today we're going to look at a bunch of different news. We're going to take an in-depth look at EOS, what the project is all about, its leadership, where it's heading, what it's trying to accomplish. We're going to take a look at international news. There was a survey done that sampled young people in Germany and looked at their views on cryptocurrency. We're going to take a look at an upcoming conference starting on June 6th in London with all kinds of guest speakers that are focusing on the blockchain space. But we're going to begin here with an article by Garrett, who's looking at New York, which is creating a cryptocurrency task force. So the New York Assembly may be sending out a crypto task force to investigate the current state of global cryptocurrency and blockchain utility and legislation. And you guys may remember that recently, within a couple weeks ago, I'd say, we had a feature article looking at how New York was trying to reinvent itself, was trying to be friendly as far as regulations to crypto. It was really trying to carve itself into that niche of being a bit of a crypto haven. So that's reflected here. Garrett points out the state of New York has been taking a very innovation-minded approach to cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. They previously announced, New York, that it wishes to be a leader in the blockchain space. So what's happening now is they're seeking to establish some cryptocurrency rules and guidelines aimed to increase awareness and use of the new technology. To lead this effort, the New York State Assembly proposed launching a cryptocurrency task force that would investigate the technology and report back with specific information. So a dedicated task force. And the document that's been proposed specifies that the New York State Assembly expects the task force to report back on all of these following points. So you have a very clear list here of expectations. I'll let you guys go through those 9 points if you want to read on yourself. The New York Assembly expects the task force to report back on their findings on or before December 15th of next year, 2019. So they have quite a bit of time to analyze the space and report on it. So who knows? I mean, New York seems to have this positive outlook on the industry that they're trying to create. We don't know. Garrett points out here that they may have an angle on environmental concerns. We don't really know what angle they're going to take, but they have over a year to report on this. And look, a dedicated task force, that's something. That's progressive, I would like to think, one way or another, just to put a spotlight on the technology and to further solidify New York's reputation as a crypto space in North America. So do be sure to leave your comments below. This is a link to the previous article by Garrett. New York City looking to be a leader in the blockchain industry. That's just from a little over 2 weeks ago. So do be sure to take a look at this as well. And this is the document that was put forward by the New York State Assembly. You can take a look at this. You have the official paperwork here if you want to read over what it is that they're proposing specifically. So in other news here by Luke, everything you need to know about EOS. So the formal release of EOS IO 1.0 on Saturday, shipped by development company Block.one, has come after a year-long ICO. With the ICO, Block One raised an impressive $4 billion with a B in total to finance the EOS project. It is by far the largest ICO ever, even bigger than many IPOs on the stock market. Is EOS the Ethereum killer, and is it still a good time to invest in the project? This article will hopefully give you more background information to help you make that decision. So EOS is the largest ICO to date. I mean, we've heard about Telegram. That was a big one, but that was still only $1.7 billion. And it was done through a private placement, after which it canceled the ICO. And you have a little bit of comparison here that Luke's pointed out. So the biggest IPOs, initial public offerings on the stock market in the US in 2018, those would be AXA Equitable Holdings at $2.8 billion, still a lot of money, and ADT at $1.5 billion in January. So this makes EOS look even more impressive. So EOS, the project, what is it? With EOS, Block.one hopes they can speed up the adoption of blockchain technology. So EOS is a blockchain-based decentralized system that enables the development, hosting, and execution of commercial-scale decentralized application, dApps, on its platform. So EOS is similar. I mean, if you're coming at this, you have no knowledge of the project. It's similar to Ethereum. They stand out in that their technology is different at the level of transaction and transactions per second, essentially capacity of what it's able to do, and transaction fees. So scalability is a really big deal with EOS. It's really, I would say that it's their major aim and their major strategic advantage that they have. So you look at some of the scalability issues in the world, right now. So Bitcoin, especially, which is 4 transactions per second, that's a bit of a big issue at the time of this article, at least. You look at some other stats out there. Ethereum has a capacity at the moment of up to 20 transactions per second. Does that sound like a lot? Possibly, but again, as this space grows, that's going to be insufficient. So by comparison, PayPal can handle almost 200 transactions per second. Visa is a beast at 24,000 transactions per second. But the whole idea, guys, is that as technology, especially as blockchain evolves, you're going to have technologies like the Internet of Things that are going to require hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. So Ethereum claims that they're solving the scalability issue with the Plasma update. We'll see. But this leaves kind of EOS this avenue of attack, because EOS is very, very, very bullish on this idea that they can become the scalable solution. So Dan Larimer's behind it. He's the creative mind behind EOS, huge believer in blockchain. And he says that everything will go through blockchain in the future. To make this possible, it requires a huge amount of transactions per second. So he points out that Facebook, for example, requires 50,000 and more transactions per second just for likes. That's only for likes, not the shares, not the comments, not for other things. So he goes on to say that EOS eventually will be able to handle over 1 million transactions per second based on the technology that they've put together. So I don't know, is that realistic? I'm not one to be able to dig in and analyze that claim and decide whether or not it's truthful based on just the tech alone, but that's what he's saying, 1 million transactions per second. In addition, the transaction fees are going to be either negligible or near zero. So that's a pretty good advantage of EOS as well. EOS also uses delegated proof of stake as opposed to just proof of stake. So that's their consensus mechanism. So that's DPoS. It works similarly to proof of stake, though it involves the approval of the block validator through a voting system. And any person who participates in the EOS blockchain and holds EOS tokens is able to vote for a validator. So we mentioned the name a couple times, Dan Larimer. He's the founder of EOS, and he's a successful guy. He's responsible for Bitshares. He's responsible for Steemit. So he's thrown his hat into a few different projects in the past. They've been very successful. And we're going to link to those. So the fact that he's coming with a certain pedigree, a certain reputation into this project, that's a big part of that $4 billion that they were able to put together. There's a certain, the reputation played a big factor. And these projects have been successful previously. So many are hoping that EOS will be no exception. So, by the way, none of this is financial advice, and I'm sure you guys have already. I'm just a broken record when it comes to that, but always keep that in the back of your mind. We're going to mention it again at the end of the article. So what to keep in mind with EOS? Well, it hasn't really done anything yet. It hasn't delivered, right? It hasn't proven itself. We don't know to what extent Dan Larimer is going to be involved in the space, is going to be involved in its leadership. Competition is, an issue. It's competing with Neo, Ethereum, Stratus, Lisk, and there are many more, of course. So will it be able to beat them all out? We don't know. But like that, 1 million transactions per second is certainly an admirable and a lofty goal. So what's going to happen with this $4 billion? You can read about how it's proposed to be spent and what they're looking to do. You can read about the total circulating supply here. And take a look at the conclusion that Luke puts together. EOS clearly has the potential to shake up the crypto market and perhaps even become the number one in the long term. With Dan Larimer, the EOS team has a big name among them with a proven track record. That said, EOS needs to shake off a number of competitors and get rid of the doubts surrounding the project to truly become valuable. If this happens, the current price of EOS will for sure be way higher than it currently is, especially if you hodl for another 2 to 3 years. So let us know your thoughts, guys, in the comments. Do you hold EOS? Do you have high hopes for EOS? Maybe you're not a fan. Let us know why you're not a fan. And of course, this is not financial advice. So we're going to link to a couple of those names that you just read about. So some of the startups by Dan Larimer. Bitshares is one. You can take a look at that website here. Steemit is another, obviously a very, very successful organization. You can take a look at Steemit. We're going to link to all of these in the description. In another article by Licia, a little bit of a survey here that was done. Almost half of young Germans are interested in cryptocurrencies. So, a post-bank digital study carried out in February and March of 2018 shows that 46% of respondents between the age of 18 and 34 are interested in investing in cryptocurrencies. So, a report by Finance Magnets. So, this is a random sample of 3,100 people, and they were asked just different questions about cryptocurrency. And the results are curious and promising and expose certain gender divisions. So this is an interesting one. Women feel that securing cryptocurrency independence from regulation is a serious matter. And that's reflected by 60 and 51% respectively. And at the same time, more men are looking forward to the prospect of high returns when investing. So 56 versus 36% between the sexes. 1/3 of those who said that they take an interest in cryptocurrencies indicated that they believe that its anonymity is a positive characteristic. Besides, 1 in 5 Germans believes that she or he possesses good expertise in cryptocurrency. Among the young people, the figure is 29%. And you have this individual, Dr. Thomas Mangel, who's the Chief Digital Officer of Postbank, was a little bit more cautious when assessing these results. He said, quote, "Due to the media hypes, many people overestimate their knowledge of the opportunities and risks of cryptocurrencies as an investment. Despite all the fascination, young investors should not lose sight of offers from the established banking system. Anyone who already makes an investment in securities as an investment should certainly not invest in cryptocurrencies because of the high risks involved. Because this type of investment is highly speculative." Yeah, I mean, it is highly speculative, but I think that's what's attracting people in the first place. So that sounds about right for a response by somebody that is a chief digital officer of the Postbank itself. And then you have a little bit more here that Alicia talked about. So in February, the Federal Ministry of Finances promised not to tax small purchases made in cryptocurrency, saying that Germany will not tax those who use Bitcoin to buy things. And this is where you have, I think there's a pretty logical response that's made here. So you have an advocacy group, Blockchain Bundesverband, also noted after a meeting with the finance ministry that Germany, quote, welcomes the blockchain industry. And then you have this individual, Joachim Wurmeling, a member of the board of Germany's Bundesbank, who emphasized that, quote, any attempt to regulate cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin must be on a global scale, as national or regional rules would be hard to enforce on a virtual borderless community. I thought that was a really interesting quote, and I don't know which way I really stand as far as my opinion, but it's just an interesting call that he's making. So any effort to attempt to regulate it has to be global. Is that realistic? I mean, I don't know if you could ever have any kind of regulation or legislation that's agreed upon globally. And even if you did, in theory, have all the countries of the world agreeing to a specific attempt at regulation, is that even enforceable? So I don't necessarily disagree with what he's advocating as the ideal, that we should have standards in place internationally because this is going to be an international set of currencies. I just don't know how realistic that is. That's I'm uncertain about that, but would love to hear your opinions, guys, in the comments below. So do be sure to sound off. Let us know what you think about this. Are you one of those young Germans between 18 and 34 that have this kind of a similar outlook when it comes to cryptocurrency? Let us know with your comments below, and you can hear about some of the news here. We're going to link to this. Almost half of young Germans are interested in cryptocurrency investment, from Finance Magnets there. From Blockchain Bundesverband, you can read about this. Der Blockchain Bundesverband ist offiziell gegründet. Sorry about that. I'm sure I butchered it. And any rule on Bitcoin must be global, Germany's central bank says. That's a really interesting statement. Let us know your thoughts on that as well. And finally, guys, to close out the news today, we have a big conference coming up, a big show in London surrounding blockchain with a lot of guest speakers. Altcoin Buzz is going to be attending it. I'm just going to play this short clip to set it up, and then we're going to look at a couple of other details. Let's begin.
I was actually quite dismissive about it. I before.
Typically do research into finance and also
50% we do on what we see.
Because he's so honest and states and searching for
So there you have it, the Blockchain International Show happening in London starting on June 6th. Here is the website. So June 6th to 7th, 2018. That's coming up very soon. So you're going to have coverage of this event by, I won't give away who, but you're having it's not me, by the way, I'm not located in London, but you're going to have coverage by an Altcoin Buzz team member. They're going to be doing interviews. They're going to be doing coverage. They're going to be talking to you about what their experience was like. And look, guys, if you're in the area, if you're interested in blockchain, if you think that this is great, they have a wonderful schedule of speakers you can check out here. You can buy a ticket, but this is coming up, the Blockchain International Show, starting on June 6th in London. We talked about just the other day how it's so important to have these ongoing events and these conferences and these speaking forums where you have individuals sharing ideas and the cross-pollination of ideas. That's so important. So it's so important to have just more than the once-a-year consensus. And this is a great example of that. So I'd really encourage you guys, if you're in the London area or the surroundings, do check this out. Consider buying a ticket. And again, you're going to have coverage of this by the Altcoin Buzz team. We're going to be doing a little bit of a feature on it in the days ahead. So do be sure to check out this website. We're going to link to it in the description below. And make sure you're following us, guys, on Altcoin Buzz News on Twitter. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information here. If you like this video, guys, do be sure to leave it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel for all kinds of daily updates. We post daily media every day on the YouTube channel. So soldiers of the Altcoin Buzz Army, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again soon. Take care.